Hello, I'm Tiffany Green-Williams, Team Rayceen Productions co-host and moderator.
And I'm Carol Mitchell, Team Rayceen Productions co-host and moderator.
Joining us is Izzan. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Please share with our viewers a little about your background and who you are.
Sure. Like I said, my name is Izzan. I'm an independent R&B artist, singer, and producer based here in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm from Arlington, Virginia. I've been involved in music nearly all my life. Starting from when I was in grade school, I played violin for a long time, from fourth grade to 11th grade. And that transitioned into choir as well. But up until that point, I'd kind of just been dabbling, but knew that I was really passionate about music, and I'm so happy that I've been able to sort of make it my life and something that I strive to get better at each day.
It's really awesome. So how long have you been creating music and what are some of your influences and inspirations?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been creating music on and off for about seriously since about maybe about 2016. And it wasn't until about the pandemic around 2020, we're all cooped up in the house, so that's when I really started to dive in. But using my sort of childhood influences of learning how to, read music and sort of how things sort of were constructed as far as like the theory, how do you make chords and how do you make harmonies. So I learned a lot of that from learning that in orchestra, an orchestra being multi sort of parts within the music as well as choir as well. Knowing that, oh, I'm singing this note, I'm singing, this part, and this is how it makes it sound, and sort of seeing the cause and effect and hearing those in real time really sort of inspired me to sort of come up with the sound that I felt would reflect me in such a way that was very authentic and genuine. I don't know if anyone experiences synesthesia, but within the context of music, it's when you hear a sound and you associate that with a color. So I tend to sort of think in music as far as I think in pinks and purples. So what I think when I think of that, I feel like it's got very warm qualities as far as like visually. So I always felt as though that like it's got this sort of warm quality, but also if you kind of dull it down, it's a little bit more melancholy, a little bit more sad. So being able to sort of walk that both sides of the fence, so to speak. So that sort of I wanted to create that sort of vibe within my sound and in my music. Yeah.
Great, thanks. I mean, that's really interesting to hear about your influences from, your childhood experiences, your school experiences, and how the synesthesia plays in. So how were you influenced by the time that you spent in Nashville and Los Angeles? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I spent a few years in Nashville for school. I went to Belmont University from 2015 to 2018. And during my time in Nashville, that was a very sort of eye-opening experience because I think prior to that point, there was only a handful of peers and friends that I was really doing music with. And then moving to, as they call it, Music City, everyone's doing music. So you're surrounded by it all the time on different ends of the scale. You have really big productions at like arenas and things like that, but also, house shows and things. So you really get to experience and see the different levels of, music. But at the root of it, it was just everyone loving it and everyone having a passion for it. So that sort of inspired me a lot to really, stop being scared, and stop experiencing, the fear of, oh, what if I'm not good enough? Or what if people don't pay attention? So that time there really let me sort of, cut these sort of creative, strings as far as just like, you know what, like, let's just go for it. And then while in Nashville, I was able to have an opportunity to intern in LA for the fall of 2017 semester. So that was my initial sort of exposure to LA. I'd never been out to the West Coast before. So when I interned there and completed my program there, upon returning back to Nashville, so this was all of 2018 at that point, we're leading up to graduation. I'm like, you know what, if there's any time to do something like this, I really want to go back to out to LA because I really love my time out there. So after graduation, I moved out to LA. And then this part of my life, so to speak, really played, I would say, a bigger part as far as the overall, creation of my music and influence as well. Just being, uh, in the sun, being at the beach, being in the mountains, just being in the city really was just so inspiring. Just seeing everyone kind of hustle and kind of get their grind out there was also, a nice sort of motivation for me to always just get up and go get it. So that sort of lent itself a creative backdrop, so to speak, to the creating the EP and creating the project.
Wow. I love how both those cities influenced your music. Could you tell us some more? You're also a music teacher, so could you tell us about your experience as a music teacher?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is definitely or fairly relatively new experience for me, this new role. So I started teaching music earlier this year. I initially signed on to be a violin and choir teacher, given that those were the groups that I was a part of growing up in grade school and in college as well. But there was a demand for the pre-K program. So I was inserted into that role there. And so they've been 30-minute one-on-one lessons. And it's been a really just fulfilling experience. I never saw myself as a teacher or fulfilling the role of a teacher, but I think I'm channeling all these sort of the previous mentors and the professors and teachers that I had over the years and trying to see what worked for me, as a student of theirs and trying to sort of pay that forward or give back, depending on how you see it, to the students that I have now. And it's just so awesome to see how, their gears are turning, how they're connecting the dots. So I can sort of lay off the, how would I say, the very like, I guess, primitive sort of, approaches. You can only do twinkle twinkle so many times, but really sort of like teach them the technical terms of like, oh, this is how we apply this in practice, and this is what you're doing, and this is how you count rhythms and all that sort of stuff. And for those that really get it, that really sort of picking up on these things, I try to challenge them in a positive way. So actually this past week, actually on Monday, I did a transcription exercise. So transcription is basically using, it's exercising your ears, your ear training. So I'd clap out a rhythm and they're supposed to transcribe it on the board. And to see like, I'd never done that before, but I was just very curious to see like, okay, let's see if we're able to sort of bridge the gap, so to speak. And they were able to really, at least for the beginning sort of exercises, the beginning examples, they were able to really pick up on it and get the correct rhythms there. So it's just like, okay, cool. So trying to prompt them and challenge them in such a way that they are seeing that what they're learning can be applied in such a way where like, hey, I wrote that, or so they have that validation there. So, and then not a few weeks ago, maybe about a few months ago, apparently it was Teacher Appreciation Month or Appreciation Week. So I got this really lovely card from one of my students there. She drew a little rainbow in there. I thought that was really sweet. So, it's not something that I was, necessarily seeking out. But again, I think just the passion, that's what I kind of put first. When I go into lessons, is just knowing that, hey, for these 30 minutes, let's just try to get better and improve, from the previous week that we had. So I've just been really enjoying it. It's been really fulfilling experience.
That's just so amazing. It's lovely that you're able to, pay your passion forward and influence these young people, especially at such a young age. You're really getting them started on that road towards music appreciation. So that's wonderful. But I do know that you have an EP that we need to talk about, Palm Tree Firework. So could you tell us about that EP? And also, I'm really intrigued about what the title means.
Okay, so this is kind of a loaded answer. So it all starts from the photo. So this was a photo that I took. So this was on the cross street of Hauser Boulevard and Wilshire Boulevard in LA. So this was at the end of 2020. I just moved into a new place. So I was kind of just getting my bearings, kind of, getting my surroundings and things. And then I come across this. So I saw the jet stream in the sky kind of coincide with the silhouette of a palm tree. So as the name suggests, it looked like, a palm tree firework. And again, being, going back to how LA kind of influenced, my music and my sound, this is pretty much, all that in a photo right here. Just the sunsets, and I'm definitely a night owl kind of person. So I love just kind of, being active and being sort of creatively awake, so to speak. That's where I feel like I'm at my creative peak, is during the evening hours of the day. That's why I feel like I get most of my inspiration going out for a walk or going out for a nighttime drive. So this was sort of the inspiration for the name. So I just named it what I thought it looked like, and it's sort of the visual imagery lends itself to sort of the narrative elements of the songs that I have in the EP, because I felt as though, to kind of backtrack for a bit, the narrative themes that this EP explores is just, a love story, love interest story, excuse me. And it is an amalgamation of just experiences and emotions that I've had, with significant others and things. I felt like that was a very sort of easy thing to write about, but I've tried to have a concentrated effort to make sure that it wasn't too specific, so that it was able to be relatable to all listeners, but at least in such a way that it was specific enough to where, like, I was able to really sort of infuse a lot of myself into these songs. So that, tying to the imagery of the album art here, I felt as though that, at least in the story that I'm telling, sometimes the firework, or the relationship or the ride that you're in, it's really cool when it rises up, but sometimes it explodes and kind of fades away, and that kind of impermanence, and it's really nice when you see it kind of in the sky, and it looks really beautiful and really pretty, but it eventually, nighttime falls, and it's not really, it's maybe it was what you thought it was, or maybe it wasn't, so I like to kind of leave that sort of listener interpretation there. So that was sort of the name inspiration, as well as the picture as well. They kind of go hand in hand.
Very nice. Beautiful, beautiful picture. Well, before we wrap up, please let us know what is coming for you, and please tell our viewers how they can learn more about you and listen to your music.
Sure, absolutely. You can follow me on Instagram at Izzan. That's where I'm most active, the platform that I'm most active. I have a link tree as well in my bio. So there's a little landing page to kind of direct you to different areas where I'm available, such as my streaming links, and YouTube as well. youtube.com/Izzan Sound, where I have my mini doc. So I made a little mini doc for the creation of the EP, some of the studio footage, some behind the scenes that I had working with Tyler Schaefer over at Q Recording Studios in Falls Church. Right now, looking forward, I have a performance coming up at the US Asian Fest on September 7th, Saturday, September 7th, over in Ashburn at One Loudoun County. It's their first sort of Asian festival organized by this company. So I'm just really, really, really honored to be a part of that inaugural celebration. We're going to be coming in with a lot of sort of cultural entertainment and activities, food, of course. So that's something that I have coming up in the pipeline, that's confirmed and official. But also kind of behind the scenes, working towards hopefully trying to get more gigs within the area. Also trying to extend my reach over into New York and maybe back to Nashville as well. So nothing too concrete as of yet, aside from the one that's over at US Asian Fest, but you'll just have to follow me and stay tuned, and hopefully I'll have more news soon.
Great, thank you so much. So viewers, please follow Izzan. You can look in the description below for links. And thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome.
To those watching, please follow Team Rayceen on social media and subscribe to the Team Rayceen YouTube channel.
And viewers, thank you for watching.